so our limited edition Reef t-shirts have officially dropped. So stoked about it. We've been working on these for a while. For this first drop, we're only shipping within the USA just so we can get the logistics down. This isn't like a print on demand type thing. We actually ordered them and we're shipping them out personally. So we're just trying to figure everything out as we go. We're gonna try our best for the next drop to ship internationally. So keep an eye out for that. The last couple of months, I've been riding the Onsra Challenger belt drive almost every day. And even though I'd consider myself early in my e-skate journey, I noticed some things about this board that I want to share. Onsra did send this board to us for free, but only under the conditions that we could state our complete honest thoughts, and they agreed. So the Challenger comes in two variations, the belt drive and the direct drive. I ended up going with the belt drive simply because I've never experienced a belt drive electric skateboard before. The overall power and torque of this board is pretty wild compared to the other boards I've tried in the past. Riding it is super fun, nice and agile with the double kingpins. The protective cage around the motors make it harder to kick the board up off the ground compared to a direct drive, I believe. You can do it though, and I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially because it's not like you're gonna be snapping this board up with the kicktail because it's so heavy. One of the benefits of this protective cage is that you can grab it and roll the board so you don't have to pick it up to carry, because this thing is heavy. It weighs almost 22 pounds. It was also a good experience for me to figure out how to swap out the wheels, the belts, adjusting the gear ratio. Shout out to Fred from eSkate Boys. He was super helpful in answering a bunch of my questions. Now the remote is a Hobby Wing ESC, which I'm pretty sure is standard for most boards at this level. I really enjoy how it feels to use. It's not jolty at all, and overall just feels premium. Now, as you can tell, if I can flip it over here, that this deck has an extremely aggressive concave. Personally, I really enjoy the concave on this board. It helps to lock you in for higher speeds, and I don't feel like it really bothers me for my shoe size. I'm a US 11. Although my range test, when I was pushing 10 plus miles on this thing, my back foot definitely felt uncomfortable and I had to adjust it a bunch of times. Now I really like the all black deck. I think it looks really sleek, although the paint chips off fairly easily. The foam grip tape felt really nice to ride on, in my opinion. It's pretty thick. One of the main reasons I wanted to get this board was because of the kicktail design. Personally, I just feel weird riding boards without any sort of kicktail. It's just for my riding style. But I do gotta say, it feels a little weird trying to utilize a kicktail on a board that's almost 22 pounds. The Challenger comes stock with 105 millimeter cloud wheels, which kind of remind me of the MBS all-terrain wheels. They pretty much look identical if you have them side by side. As far as wheel bite goes, I only experienced it on the cloud wheels when I was going under 4 miles per hour and I was pushing it to the absolute max. I don't think it's that big of a deal for two reasons. The first, you're never gonna experience it in normal riding conditions. And secondly, I found myself using the kicktail in sharper situations instead of just leaning my weight and turning it. Also, I've been swapping out the cloud wheels for the 85 millimeter 77A orangutans, which I personally like more. They're a lot smoother, and the benefit of smaller wheels is that now it's impossible to get wheel bite. Moving on, the bearings are solid. Nothing really stands out about them. Unless I'm being super nitpicky, I kind of wish that the bearings had built-in spacers. The trucks are 13-inch double kingpins, which is really nice for carving, but kind of confuses me when it's paired with a battery that can max out at 30 plus miles per hour. I have gotten used to them when I max out the speed, but like I briefly said in the beginning, it does get sketchy when you hit a bump at max speed. I will say that carving with the double kingpins is really fun. My riding style, I love to go, anywhere from 10 to 15 miles an hour, long drawn out carves, and doing that on this type of electric skateboard is it's so fun. I still have a lot to learn about the techie side when it comes to the battery, the motors of electric skateboards, but I have been reading up and I feel like I got a solid grasp of what all these specs mean. The battery is 12S2P, 432 watt hours, which as far as I'm aware is on the larger side, especially for this type of board. There seemed to be some controversy around the watt hours. They originally had it as 504, but have since changed it to 432, which I believe is more accurate. Honestly, since I'm not that technical, I don't think I would have really noticed that difference from a riding feel perspective, but I think it annoyed a lot of people just from a transparency aspect, which I can understand. Now the charging cap looks and feels pretty cheap in my opinion. Kind of wish they put something a little more heavy duty. Now I did a range test from 100% all the way down to 10%, averaging about 16.7 miles per hour, riding it semi-aggressively in a pretty hilly environment, maxing out the speed on straightaways, but also doing a lot of slower carving. I weigh 165 pounds, the weather was 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and I ended up getting right around 16.4 miles with it. I think it's important to note that this was actually my second range test. The first one, the battery sensor disconnected at around 15 miles and the battery completely died. I ended up having to open this board up and solder that battery sensor back on, which it works fine now, but that was a little concerning. To be fair, they told me that this is a very rare instance and they were very apologetic, which I understand. I don't think it's fair to kind of hold this against them. But then the other side of that is like, isn't there a better way to ensure that these battery sensors are very secure? Overall, I have really enjoyed riding the Onsra Challenger. The mixture of the aggressive concave, double kingpins, and 12S2P battery isn't the best match for my riding style, but it's still going to be a board that gets a lot of use for when I want to go for longer rides. I would have been totally okay with this type of board. I love the look of it. I love the idea of it, but with a smaller battery, just from a portability aspect, I'd recommend it to someone who wants a carving machine, but it still has that power. It still has that range. Yes, these boards are on the pricier side, but I definitely think there's a place in the market for them, especially when they're standing behind their product. They have a 2-year warranty, service centers all over the world. If you guys have any suggestions on how to improve my electric skateboard reviews, because as you know, I'm very early in my journey, but yeah, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you in another one later.